Hey, good afternoon, Manchester, New Hampshire, and all the surrounding area.
Yeah.
Whether you're on the internet or whether you're on TV or whatever. And it's a little chilly out here. I was
It
going to
is,
run
yeah.
around with just a,
It is
you
chilly.
know, I'm just going to wear my briefs out there today, but
Oh,
just
you
a
don't
little
want- no.
bit too
A
cold.
little too cold.
Yeah. So I decided I'd better wear my fur-lined stuff, and then, so I'm only kidding, folks. So I don't wear anything that's made out of animals. I'm an animal lover, and that I could never wear.
But sometimes you
something-
can't help it.
I know. I actually one time they had a animal rights. I was part of that, and they had this big meeting down at the hotel. What was it called? The Radisson Hotel.
Yeah.
And this woman come out with this nice fur mink coat on. Somehow it landed in my hands, and somehow it landed into the trash bucket when it was burning. And oh my goodness, it burned. I don't know how it happened. Nobody knows. Well, she's quite intoxicated, but I told him she probably threw it in. I wasn't going to tell him. And then another time we went to the mall in New Hampshire, and we went to all the animals in there. Somehow the accident just happened, Well, it was 30 years ago, so you can't do anything to me.
Statute of limitations.
But then I felt kind of bad because some of the animals actually died out of it because they were so driven. I just don't believe in selling pets. Have you ever been to a pet store where they had the grates for them to walk on? It's kind of a nice. To me, that's cruel.
That is cruel.
Isn't
I agree with that. Yeah.
Except for birds.
Huh?
Except
Yeah.
for
Well,
birds.
for
Birds are
birds,
different.
yeah, well,
Birds,
But-
I think,
Have to have it.
they actually like
Yeah.
the being able to like grab onto
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
They
So
have
like
to.
a dog or a kitty cat,
Right.
they and
Yeah.
all that great and stuff.
And they have to sleep on
That
that. That's
lady
wrong.
over there. What's your name again? Emily. By the way, folks, we had George, and what's your first name?
Rhonda.
Rhonda and Emily. Not McIntyre, right?
I forgot to.
Separate L, right?
Yes, I think so.
Lambert.
Lambert.
There
Oh,
we go.
I should know that name. Oh, my
That's
God.
why I have a co-host. Here as guest today, George is the honorable from state rep at one time, right?
Multiple times, yes.
Multiple times, okay. So he's earned a name, a title of being honorable. You ran for state rep at one time, right? Or legislator?
I've run a couple of times, yeah.
I think you ought to run again.
You think so?
Yeah, we need some more strong Republicans in there. Of course, Mary will disagree with me on that one, but that's okay.
Anybody can
Yeah,
run.
you're right.
That's right.
I actually, your
Doesn't
daughter.
matter who you are.
I know she's a flimsy wham, makes one decision and goes with another decision, but that's part of growing up. She is going to be she has a very what I call a restless spirit. And the thing is, she's so super smart that she's lazy with it.
True.
You got to pull that mic up to you, sweetheart, between the two of you. It won't bite you, I promise.
Well, it says don't touch, and so
Yeah.
we're trying to be.
Oh, I always get yelled at. But the one thing I look at you're going to be a very successful in whatever you choose to do. I could see you have a very nosy spirit. And she's a gossiper.
Oh, true.
She's honest.
Yeah, unusual.
I know.
I could actually see her being a newspaper reporter.
Yeah, that would be
I hope
good.
she's better than the modern, media though. Because the modern media is so bad.
They're so biased.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Now, I actually see her like for the National Geographic type of magazine and stuff.
Oh, nice.
You are going to do a lot of traveling.
I love that.
I don't see you getting married for a long period of time.
Makes sense.
And I don't see you having children until you're at least 30 to 31 years old.
Perfect.
If you have any.
Perfect.
You love animals more than you do
I do.
people. You also could be a very good animal trainer. And I would probably encourage you to listen to what they're saying, whether it's a cat or a dog, like the dog you just adopted, I want to also encourage you to listen to them because you can, and they do communicate with you. They will tell you how mean your father is to them.
Oh, are we supposed to deny that? He's
Yeah.
not mean. Oh, sorry. He's not mean to them. Him.
Well, they're telling me they are. Well, see, they like her.
Oh, they definitely like them more than he likes me.
Well, you have a deep voice, and that scares them. Okay? They are very spoiled, I will say that to them.
That's true.
However, you have a dog that needs a new collar. You have 2 dogs?
One dog.
No.
One dog? Well, is it a he?
Yes.
He needs a new collar.
Well,
Okay.
tell Stephanie this.
Okay? And some kind of dog food you give him he does not like. He eats it to make you people happy.
He would prefer to eat human food.
He
I'm
would.
sorry? Yeah. You know, I see nothing wrong with that. My dog is 15 years old. And now she's starting
Oh, she's so sweet.
Yeah, she is.
Chicky.
And she started, all she would ever eat was meat. She would not eat dog food, but she loved cat food. And
Dry or wet?
either way.
Yeah.
I don't think it hurts them. That's it. Because they want to make the money off of a certain breed. Oh, it's got to be dog food or cat food for the cat. And we have a cat, they share, the cat and dog share each other's food, And actually, the gentleman who runs one of the TV producers here runs a TV show actually gave me my dog.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah. And cuddle into my shoulder, and then they had a nickname. So my granddaughter named it Chicky, but she would be so mean to that dog because she was jealous of anyone that come to my house. She would be jealous of.
Yeah. Chicky's such a sweet little girl.
And so that's like you people with your animals. I believe, and tell me if I'm wrong, that you trust your animals more than you do people. One thing about animals, they don't betray you.
No.
They
You have
love
a
you.
cat,
No.
Not anymore.
guess what? You got one coming.
Nope.
Yep.
Not going to happen because he's allergic.
I don't care. Daddy, but that cat is so pretty. And you will not be allergic as you think you will be. Okay. Body heal thyself.
Okay.
Okay. If you take a lot more about like vitamin B12, that works great wonders. I'll have to have you come on come and set me on when Dr. Jody comes on.
Yeah.
I got it back. I
Yeah.
got to book her. One of the things I'm also looking with you too is you're going to have a lot of boys. You're very flirtatious.
Yeah.
Do you have a shotgun? I mean, I know you're a Republican, so.
Yes, I do. It wouldn't be the shotgun I would worry about. Actually.
But I wouldn't. Actually, I think mother would be more protected than dad.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't want to get you pissed off.
I wouldn't either.
Same.
I would actually hide behind my car first. Because you might go, bang, 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 bang. Oh, what happened now? I'm only picking on you now. Because I like to pick on people, Not that I would ever do that, you know that.
But we actually agree as a family on the non-aggression principle, which will never initiate violence. We will respond to violence. We'll respond to violence in kind to stop it. But we absolutely do not tolerate violence.
Good.
And
applaud you for
against
that.
anyone except to stop aggression.
Well,
Which
my
is kinda
point
strange,
I'm
like-
Yeah.
the same way. I'll walk away first.
Mm-hmm.
But don't push your luck with me.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you push your luck with me, then I'm not responsible for my actions. And I think you're really the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hurt my dog.
Mm-hmm.
The dog first, my cat. And then you don't hurt any member of my family or my animal.
Yeah.
I hold the grudges more than he does.
I don't know how to
I
hold a
got
grudge.
somebody. Hey, all right. Finally got somebody
I
like
tell
me.
him all the time he's
Oh,
a
I'm
much better
terrible for
person than
that.
I am because he's able to forgive and forget
I'm
and
not.
move on. And if you get on my bad side to a point that you've hurt a loved one, you're done.
See, that's
You're-
like that with
you're
me.
like me.
My son can hold a grudge for a long, long time. I don't have time. And I would be dishonoring my spiritual work that I do. Do I forget? Yeah. But do I not forget? Oh, no, I don't forget.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I don't go out of my way to hold grudges.
No,
It-
but you
but
always,
it-
but you
it-
remember.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And it's this guy way back when I was from Laconia. He saw me. He goes, "Oh no, here we go." I said, "You know what? You're not worth my time." But I said, "I'll forgive you, but I won't forget."
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're really the same way, because trying to hold that grudge is really hurting you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I blamed everybody in New London. Do you know where New London, New Hampshire is?
I do.
Yeah, that's where I'm from.
Okay.
Okay, and I was from the wrong side of town, and for years I hung on to that grudge, They didn't even know who I was when I went back there again, you know. And I went to this beautiful pond that I grew up near, and I let it all out. That's when I started to grow. I don't want to ever hear of you holding grudges, young lady.
Okay.
It's not. It doesn't help
And
you.
that includes against your
It
sisters.
only hurts you.
Okay.
Secondly, you're very strong.
Oh,
You see a lot of things before they actually happen, huh?
I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of deja vu,
Right,
but like,
that's
it's
what I'm
just
saying.
like,
Don't let it scare you.
okay.
Okay. Your mother also has that type of thing too. Okay. Your mother, if her husband would listen to her once in a while, when she sees something that is happening, if he would listen to what she's saying instead of being on that ego trip.
Do you have another husband?
Oh dear.
How long you been married?
We have married 22 years.
Yeah, 22.
Nice.
I'll be 23 this September.
Yep, and
She
we've been
put up
together
with you
for.
that long?
And I married her 5 years to the day that I met her. Exactly. Yeah,
So you had a
It was
long
like-
relationship.
we did. And it
You
was.
wanted to did you live together before that?
We did, and then
And that was a marriage as far as I'm concerned.
And then after that, on our first anniversary, I had to go to a conference. I had these people invite me to a conference in Europe, and I'm like, it's my first anniversary. I can't go to a conference to work for my first anniversary. That's just a non-starter. And the people who wanted me to speak said, hey, let me talk to your wife. And he's like, yep. And he talked to her on the phone. He says, how would you like to go and spend 10 days in Europe for your anniversary? And she said, yeah, why not? And off we
Did you have a
went.
good time?
I did. It was kind of rough because that's when I found out we were pregnant with our first child together, and it was kind of rough.
Yeah. Yeah. See,
But
I
the
know.
drill, I have to say, was amazing.
But we have a very, very happy. Is it fair to say we have a very happy household?
Yeah.
You have a lot of good spirits in your house.
Yeah.
You know, you got one though that's trying to break the barrier down, and it's not actually in your house; it's on your property. There was a man that was actually shot and beaten to death on your property. Do you have an elm tree or some kind of a maple tree near your house?
Sort of.
Okay, got a
It's-
lot of leaves. and all
Well,
that.
it's. We have one that's kind of like growing from a seed or something, so it's
Right.
kind of like, but it hasn't.
But there's, around that area, there's a burial ground,
Okay.
and this man was buried there way back when. Okay, and his name was Bernard. So if you feel a lot of restlessness, don't be afraid to say, Bernard, you can go home now.
Okay.
Okay, he was like when the drummer back in when. Okay, and he actually was accused of something that he didn't do. Okay, and back in them days, if you were gay, you were hung. And if you go over to Europe or wherever, they still do it, in Russia or whatever. So this is why American people, I don't know why you're hating everything. You should be grateful that we're here, because here, me being gay or whatever, you know what, it's okay.
Mhm.
Back 30 years ago or 40 years ago, it was not okay.
Right.
You know, I got beat up twice, but that's okay. That's why I don't join these gay communities and all that. I don't think they have any right to push it on somebody else. You know, be who you want to be and enjoy who you are. You have a lot of friends that are gay, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you love them as a person.
hmm
Just don't let them try to influence you one way or the other. Be who you are. You're a beautiful lady, and stop worrying about your weight. Because the more you worry about your weight, guess what happens? The chunkier we get.
Oh.
Because we try, and you're the same way, that we try so hard to lose weight, then we get discouraged, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then those chocolate bonbons get in the way. Or if I've been smoking a homemade cigarette, those chocolate bonbons get in the way. I'm very much in favor of legalizing it. Is it today that's supposed to go with that? What is that?
There's a bunch of bills and a lot of arguments over it. I actually heard both sides of the argument this morning. I was actually at a political meeting for breakfast, and I listened to somebody from the anti-legalization and someone from the pro-legalization. And one of them was actually using facts, and one of them was using stories that were just ridiculous. And I'll let you guess which was which, but it was...
And one of the facts was in my favor.
Yep. It was really amazing.
I had a roommate, Scott and I had a roommate. You know that company, Three Company?
Yeah.
You know, I was the only gay one there. He had to do with three, you know. But we were watching, and the only way that he could get comfort is by smoking a joint. And that one, you know, and that's when one day we heard this loud knocking on the door, and I go, oh, no, because we just got through, you know, having a homemade cigarette. And it was a visiting nurse, and she was in favor of it. Then another time on probation, I had a guy that was saying when the probation officer came through, talk about angels protecting it, because he went through everything in my ashtray, and Scott used to make his own homemade cigarettes, so he was examining it. Had he moved the paper another way, he would have.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, no.
You know, but I'm very much, you know, I do not believe that marijuana is a gateway to other drugs. I really don't.
All of the objective medical studies would agree with you.
Okay. I love that when they brought the egg on a sidewalk or on the hood of the...
Oh, yeah, this is your brain on drugs.
Yeah, your brain's going to fry.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, in Massachusetts and in Vermont, I know doctors who finally are happy they can grow their own and talk about marijuana because they have been fans for years, but risk their profession even talking about it.
I know a doctor in Massachusetts grows his cells to do with the patient.
Exactly.
So there you go.
Did
but
you know
there's a
that
doctor in Bedford that will, I forgot her name, that says she will, you know, sign for medical marijuana. It's hard to find a doctor that will do that. Hitchcock Clinic.
They're becoming more and more. But there was an interesting thing that happened in January, and that is that the spending bill to do government continuation, remember the government shutdown,
Right.
and then the bill to expand it,
Yeah.
which was approved on February 15th,
Yeah.
included language that said that $0 can be appropriated and used by the Department of Justice to prosecute anyone in any state where they have legalized medical marijuana usage. So the federal government has $0 appropriated, which means they have $0 they can spend on going after
Trump wants to
states.
legalize marijuana.
I know he does. I actually had a meeting with him before the First of the Nation primary. We were talking about that in the hall.
Yeah.
And I asked him, he says, I have a big problem with opioids. I have a big problem with fentanyl. I have a big problem with a whole bunch of other drugs, cocaine, crack, all of that stuff. But marijuana, the evidence doesn't back it up. We need to stop wasting our money. I was one of the first Trump supporters in the state. Do you remember when everyone thought I was crazy?
I have to tell you, I'm a big,
They
big...
still think you're crazy, babe.
I know, but
Okay. As long as we're
thank you for being so supportive.
I love
You know
your
the fun
craziness.
part? I have a lot of friends that that live together. That one's a Democrat, one's a Republican, but yet they do not discuss it in their household.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I think that's the way it should be, because then another couple that I know, they're going to get divorced because of the political. That's so sad. When you have to allow a political view to
Get in between you,
destroy
that's
your marriage,
bad.
that means that marriage was not. solid
Communication
to
is the
begin.
key. Like, you don't have to agree. You just need to communicate.
Well, I had to contradict her.
I have a lot of friends that's Republican
Hey,
and
shuffle
independent.
Yeah, shuffle. And you know
Don't
what?
bother me a
If
bit.
your argument can't stand up rationally, okay, then you're missing something. If you can't actually have an intellectual discussion
Without
about your
fighting.
position and just represent it and respect the other person, you're doing it wrong.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, basically, freedom of speech, as far as can I get off on a rant just for a minute? Well,
Sure. Well, you're always on a rant, so that's nothing unusual.
Freedom of speech.
Am I right?
Total respect for freedom of speech means I need to sit there and listen to someone who I completely disagree with and would fight with over their position, but defend their right to say it all day long.
It's called respect for both parties.
Exactly.
Anyway, you know, 'cause, you know, Want to swap over with her?
I would be delighted, sir.
I would say.
Sorry, that's my
what I-
favorite rant.
Oh, what am I gonna? No, I agree. You know, I don't have to agree. Throw it right out there. I don't have to agree with you, but you know what? I will respect you to have that freedom of speech. That I don't know if you ever. I put a lot on Facebook.
I know you do.
Oh yeah, and you know
You
I
were
don't back
responding
down.
to some of my posts the other day.
That's right, and I don't back down.
You don't. You saw the argument on my wall,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That it went crazy. Like, there were hundreds of posts.
You're an old soul, first of all. You've been here many, many times.
Okay.
Okay.
I believe
You
that.
actually, you and your husband were married to each other in a past life.
That I completely
Okay,
believe.
because the torment that you two went before you met each other was incredible. But you had to go through that to get back together. Okay, when you first met him, you were not sure if you wanted another relationship.
That was a discussion for a month. We actually talked about that as friends for a month. About the fact we would never.
Actually, he was like a moth that grows on a tree, sticking right there. I want you to start giving yourself more credit for your intelligence than you do.
Okay.
You're a pretty intelligent lady. And you can outfox your husband when you want to, but you let him think he's the... Did your mother pass?
No,
No, was it your grandmother?
my grandma.
She wanted to know if you know how to use a vacuum cleaner.
All right, grandma.
You're not a good housekeeper?
No.
But your house is lived in.
Yes.
Well, put him on with a mini skirt and an apron and he could do it.
Oh, there we go. Put them in a French maids.
Hmm.
You know, and with a willow went behind it.
No,
you
no.
know, make sure you know.
No
But-
pictures, okay?
Okay.
Oh no, we gotta have pictures.
Okay.
Pictures or it didn't happen.
All right.
Yeah. But I also,
Welcome to the
when you
world of
take your
Facebook.
time, you can be a very good cook.
Oh, yes, she is.
But you're not domesticated. You do it because you know that things have to be done. Does that make sense to you? Okay.
You should actually come over and actually have her homemade spaghetti sauce, either on spaghetti or lasagna.
Well, Mary, you heard that.
I know.
She can bring it
And I-
into our next event, right?
That's my favorite. Oh my
Mary
God, I
makes
love
the
it.
best homemade baked beans you have.
That
I
is
cannot
one of
make
my
baked beans
favorites,
to
and she
save
can't
my
make them.
life.
Oh, yeah.
They
They're always just a
When
little
she
too
had it
hard.
at the event, they sell out. She had to make,
Yeah.
what, 2-3 pots before
Yeah,
it.
I made 3 and had 2 pounds.
Can you tell her how to
each.
make the beans soft? Because her beans, I don't know what
They're
it is
always
she does.
hard.
They're always
I
just a
soak them
little hard.
overnight.
Oh, I
everything.
can be
Oh, there's
nasty.
a trick. There's a trick to that.
But the one thing
I
you got a
can't tell you
lot-
what's in them because
That's
my
your-
mother's.
yeah.
That's my mother's. But
Fair enough.
I'll tell you some in between.
I'll Facebook you how we make ours. Yeah, we make it. We let them cook 24 to 48 hours. Okay,
I have
not
like the
slow.
big old Boston baked bean pot and everything.
Probably too big.
I don't know.
You let them soak overnight first. Okay.
Yep.
One of the things is you got some good news coming to you that caught career-wise.
Okay.
Do you like what you're doing right now?
I do.
Okay. You want another promotion?
As much as I can get one, yeah.
Okay. You're going to get either a new job with a lot of driving because you have a restless spirit as well. You cannot stay home 24/7.
Okay.
Okay. You enjoy your freedom.
Mhm.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. Okay. But you enjoy time for yourself.
Mhm.
Okay. I think you ought, if you wrote children's book, you'd be very good at it.
Okay.
Okay. If you wrote a book about your husband, oh my God, it'd be a #1 seller. Scandal.
That
All the
is actually
scandal.
true.
All the scandal.
There's lots of scandal. I'm scandalous.
I'm also going to tell you, you are losing your weight.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
try so hard.
Okay.
Okay. A lot of times you try too hard. Is your daughter in college? Your oldest one?
Yes. Technically, yes.
And she's doing pretty well, right?
Yes, she is.
I mean, she's part-time? in
Is
school?
Justice part-time? I think
I
she is.
think so.
We think so.
You don't talk with her?
Not as often. I gave her up for adoption to my best friend.
Your oldest daughter?
My oldest daughter. I have 4 daughters total.
Oh, I mean the one I met here.
Oh, Stephanie? No, she actually works full-time.
I really think she needs to go to college. But it's up to her. Not
Exactly.
everybody needs a college degree today, okay? Now, do you get in contact with the other daughters?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's good. But you gave them up for reasons, because you wouldn't have a nervous breakdown.
Yes.
Okay, so they're better off where they are.
Yes, she is.
Stop feeling guilty.
Nope.
Stop
Never regretted my
Okay,
decision.
good, because you did the right thing. You also had a miscarriage.
Okay.
Okay, and had that child been born, it would have been in a handicap.
Okay.
And you're so high strung, it's hard for you to handle things that are not going your way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's pretty fair.
When you start yelling, I'm getting the hell out of your way. But your husband's also an instigator too, and he enjoys instigating.
That's fair.
But I don't instigate at home, and she doesn't yell at home. She only yells at work.
When you instigate at home, she's so used to you, she shuts you off, so don't even try.
I know.
The last 2 years, financially, have been hell and back, haven't they? But you're bringing yourself out because you're not a quitter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Politically, it's also been assassination on your husband's reputation. But you've always stuck by him. Love is unconditional. Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
People don't forget. Oh,
Here's the mic.
you got to pull your mic up. There you go.
Okay. Sorry.
Love is unconditional. When you marry them, better or for worse.
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
we could have a sex change.
As long as
I'm getting more sex.
No,
Awesome.
I'm having a change.
maybe you're getting less sex.
Okay. That's
One of the things about you two, whatever you two do, please, other people don't need to know about. Your daughter needs to stop gossiping about what's going on in the house.
Yeah. Which daughter? Emily.
Your daughter that's working full time, she's really doing really well, isn't she?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
she is.
She's involved in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because I see a wedding coming.
Okay.
You don't like him. You tolerate him. Remember, it's your daughter.
I know.
But they love each other.
That's the important thing.
She would go on an island by themselves for him. The only thing I don't like is that he tried to control her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When she's had enough, believe me, she's had enough. She takes a lot like her mother, but when she's had enough. She's not pregnant right now, right?
No.
You ready to be a grandmother?
No. Ooh, Stephanie and I are gonna have a chat.
You ready to be an auntie?
Oh, full sense, yeah.
And I'm looking at one in the next year and a half, you're going to be a grandmother.
Okay.
And you're going to have to take a lot of responsibility for that child.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And you will.
Of course I will.
And the child will be called Baldy Grampy. I love the guy.
I let her cut my hair yesterday.
That was my doing. I shaved his hair last night.
Oh, my
She made a-
granddaughter one time died. I'm getting ready. I forgot I had a client coming in. So she and her friend come in, and they put green, yellow, red, all you should have seen.
Oh, what you had for Halloween.
Yeah, I had
Huh?
a blonde wig on. I had my coconuts on, and I had the robes that the ministers wear. And I had a cross on there, and I had a tiara.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And a grass skirt?
No, I couldn't find it. Mary wouldn't let me use hers. She said I couldn't fit it.
I know. And I got a real one, too.
Yeah. But I had fun being different, just like you do. I could never see your husband compromising to other people.
No, he doesn't.
Because that would not be
He's
him.
his own person, and
And that's where you have a lot of respect for him. And I also will tell you, I actually see another 30 years for you too. Why, I don't know, but that's okay.
Exactly.
You're going to Europe.
all right.
That's some kind of a business trip that you're going to be going on with your husband and you, because he has a lot of good values with people, and he respects a lot of people. Do you work out of your house?
I do.
And then start making some money?
Hope so.
We never hope. We never, ever hope. We know.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Mary? That's
That's
my
right.
word. We know, okay? Your wife has a lot of faith in you, so prove her right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, does that make sense to you? You know what speed limits are?
Nope.
I mean, her.
She does not.
Well, I understand I understand the concept of them.
You live near Litchfield?
live in with you.
Well, what happens if a cop, through the rinky-dink cop, pull you over? George is not popular with them.
I'm not. I've caused them a great deal of pain.
Can you afford a $350 speeding ticket?
No.
I'm sorry?
No.
No. Okay. So my suggestion to you is to slow it down.
Okay.
You're going to get caught about a quarter of a mile from your house.
Oh, that would make sense.
And there's a stop sign that you might zip through.
Okay.
And the cop, boy, your house is not going to let you forget
The
it.
irony is, I had that stop sign put up at that intersection.
That would be embarrassing then, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Because I did that.
Then
When I was
George
a
is political
selectman.
field.
That's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're going to get busted at my stop sign.
I'm going to get busted at your stop sign. It's all because of you.
I know.
You're why we can't have nice things.
It's totally
In the next 8 months, expect a lot of good positive news coming to you. Expect a lot of big changes. And it could be you. Now, you work for a company, right?
Yes.
Would you be willing to buy that company out?
Not the condition it's in now, no.
Well, if you bought it out, there would be a big change, and you would do it right. Because you would be the CEO, the macho, with a black whip and a black chain, and a leather, But anyway, I could see if you had the opportunity. Okay. Have them come in.
Are we okay?
Yeah. Once you invite somebody, because they didn't confirm one way or the other.
Oh.
Okay. And they're coming in late. I'm sorry, I don't deal with that too long.
Oh my goodness.
Hello, sir.
Oh, you didn't
It's
get
just
back to me, okay?
amazing when
Can we move your daughter?
it's
Actually,
amazing
I'm
when
gonna
your
have to
best
leave.
friends
Oh, okay.
show up to sit at the
Come right
table with
on
you.
over.
Sir, you may sit in my seat.
No.
I have to leave.
Somebody else.
She actually has to go to work.
We're all set here.
Thank you so
Okay.
very much.
Buy that
That's good.
business and straighten it out.
Ah, absolutely. It needs it. Goodbye, babe.
Goodbye, my darling.
Something tells
I
me
hope
you
you have
two
a
know
fantastic
I think
afternoon.
they know each other.
This is fun.
Have a seat, young man. I didn't get a thing back from you.
Tell us.
I didn't have a thing to get back to you with.
Oh, I gave you my card, didn't I?
Don't
Yeah, I
think
know
so.
I did.
No, I don't have it.
Well, anyway, you're on anyway.
Yeah.
You want to tell people who you are?
Sure. I'm representative, or no, I'm not anymore. I'm the Honorable Dan Itse.
You are
No longer a representative, but I was
an
watching-
author.
An author, and I was watching the fun today.
Oh, wasn't it great?
Now what?
The fun up in Concord.
Oh, in Concord. I thought you were talking about D.C.
No,
we
I
were
was
talking
just-
about the
Okay,
fun in
we're gonna-
D.C.
we're just going to have
I
you sit
was,
there and they're going to be talking. You can pull the mic.
I texted some suggestions during one of the bills up today was a bill to make it a misdemeanor for you to have a gun on school grounds, even in a vehicle, unless it is unloaded and in a locked box.
I always thought that was a
Can you carry the
law
locked
passed
box
anyway.
with you into the school?
No, it has to be the locked box has to be in the vehicle. No,
I'm just asking.
and this is per federal
Yeah.
law.
Okay.
If you have a concealed carry license signed by law enforcement or issued by law enforcement,
Right.
then you are good to go into a school.
Oh, okay. Oh, so because I always really thought that you know. Oh,
Really?
I'm learning
Yes,
something new.
and
I didn't realize that.
And do you know who came down with that opinion first, or that our concealed carry licenses qualified was then Attorney General Foster.
Really?
Yes, he's always. I may not have liked his politics, but he was always honest.
Hey.
You know
You
what?
don't expect that from the department, the Department of Justice and the Attorney General in the United States.
I am so tired of people talking about, the gun law, the gun law. The guns don't kill people.
Well, and the
Bad behavior.
Yeah.
Well, bad behavior, and the real problem with this is that I think it's 95% of all firearm assaults have happened in gun-free zones.
I mean, look at Chicago.
Right. So making a school a gun-free zone actually increases the risk. The reason or the stated motivation is the idea that somebody could legally carry a firearm into the school makes the children afraid. Although all the testimony during the hearing was actually that what made the children afraid were all the lockdown drills they were doing.
Then you know what? Then my theory is too is like when my granddaughter went to school at McLaughlin, a little skinny lady. That gun was bigger than she was.
Right.
Seriously, I would be more afraid of the resource officers carrying the gun than the parents.
Well, the parents are going to naturally react to protect their children.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's, one of the things that, and I did text this to some of my friends up in Concord, that can you imagine now, if this should become law, and it has to go from here to the Senate, and then I don't know that it'll go beyond the governor because it's unconstitutional in some regards.
He'll veto it.
But you're there, you're a parent, and because you're following the law, you've taken your firearm and you've taken it off your person, you've unloaded it, you put it in a lockbox, and something happens while you're there picking up your child.
You're going to spend the rest of your life.
The only thing there is no way to reverse that process in a meaningful time frame. And so you're going to have to sit there and watch as your child might be slaughtered.
I mean, look what happened in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Look what's happening and that's the sad part. It's young kids.
Right. Well, and one of the things that came out of they did a study commission after that, and it came out with two conclusions. One, they needed to spend more money on school safety, and the other was they needed to authorize the teachers to carry.
I really agree with that. What do you think?
Yes.
You do too,
Yeah,
right?
I do. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really do because, like what's saying is, if some young mental or older person walks in there and then the teacher's in the classroom, and what's going to happen? They're going to bang, on them or something like that. The teacher has no way to protect the children.
Scissors.
Remember at Sandy Hook, they just simply covered the children with their bodies and everybody died. It was actually after Sandy Hook, I put in a bill that specifically authorized the towns to authorize their teachers to carry. Turns out it was unnecessary because if they had a concealed carry license, they could, unless it was part of their contract that they couldn't.
Yeah. Well, no, they don't have to have a concealed license anymore now, right?
You don't,
I mean, you don't have to. My son has one. You don't have to.
You don't have to have a concealed carry license to carry concealed in New Hampshire anymore.
Right.
But you would have to have a concealed carry license to carry in the school.
Oh, I see. Okay. Because my son,
That's one of the reasons to get one.
Yeah, he's actually going to renew his. Because my son he teaches gun safety, and one of the things that he believes in, if you're going to buy a gun, you damn well should have a class on how to properly shoot a gun. You know this guy?
Oh,
I published his book.
Oh, you poor guy.
Yes. I mean, we served together in the House for 4 years.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and
Well, I'm sorry for you.
no, we
created a lot of trouble together.
yes. Well, I remember you and Andrew Manous came into the House. We'd known each other for a couple of years before that, and I said, so, take over a couple of my bills, young men. I will get you on TV.
It's the first time I was ever on Fox News. I was live on Fox News for trying to turn TS agents into registered sex offenders.
I was up here in Manchester. This is no lie. I was up. I did a fly out of Boston and out of here, and this one guy kept. I said, do you want me to put my pants down so you can feel them or whatever you want to do with them? And go, what are you talking about? I said, you're spending about 5 minutes in that area. I don't think it's necessary. I don't have a hernia. I don't have prostate cancer. But if you want to spend a little more time, he was going to have me arrested.
They don't have a very good sense of humor.
No, they don't. Well, I didn't either after a while.
I understand.
Well, how like that? I don't know if you saw
Where
that.
do you draw the line?
Yeah.
I mean, basically, I would like to see somebody go out and say there ought to be a TSA Me Too movement, right?
Right.
Because, at what point does somebody say, this officer maybe has...
Did you see on Facebook
engagement-
when they had this little old lady in a wheelchair?
Yeah.
And they went, what
was
does
a
that prove?
disgrace.
My
Wasn't it a
mother-in-law,
disgrace?
who passed away 4 or 5 years ago, I forget precisely, at the age of 73, when she was between, say, 68 and 70, she was getting aggressively frisked regularly. And here's literally a little old lady, why are they doing this?
Because they
don't-
can.
Yeah.
Maybe
Right.
you know what? Maybe they're getting their jollies off or whatever.
I'd hope not.
Yeah, that speaks to a whole different problem.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm seeing. And then sexual assault, no matter how you look at it.
Right.
But that's play. I will never, and a lot of other people won't. That's why Manchester is losing a lot of their contracts because of the TSA, and all that. Do your job. I have no problem with it. And a lot of people that are in power like that, a lot of them don't even speak English.
The best TSA experience I have, and I go there fairly frequently, is Montgomery, Alabama. They are, it's Southern hospitality. They're kind, they're friendly, they're they're just great. It's just part of the process. It's just.
I actually, as you know, I do readings on TV. The one thing I'm looking at you too is that you're going to do a heck of a lot more traveling than you have been. You like to travel. You also have a very restless spirit that needs to keep going. I would also encourage you to write another book.
I'm working on a second edition. How about that?
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I'm working on another writing project as well.
I also see you having a book that you might be writing, that you're going to be doing a talk show with. Some of the people that are going to try to condemn you for, and you know what I like about you, you're going to make them prove you wrong.
Are you going to do a talk show, Dan?
Well, she's doing right now, but
there's
No.
actually a plan.
Actually, he got invited to do a talk show. Hasn't done his first show yet,
Yeah.
but he got invited last week to actually be a constitutional speaker on a regular YouTube news network.
I would like to see you do that. And I want to see you and I will follow it, and you let us know, because you know what? I see so many things that are violated our constitutional rights.
Well, it isn't just Well, remember, they're not.
Our rights.
Our rights, because they aren't created by the Constitution. The Constitution simply recognizes them and codifies them. What I find most disturbing, I guess, is that there is so little cognizance
He used a big word.
I know.
of where our constitutions come from. About 2014, I guess, I really started reading Locke and really understanding Locke and having and seeing how interwoven his theories of government are with our Constitution. And then last summer, beginning of last summer, I was given a book on Locke and really, learn the man's life. The man, his arrival on Earth is pretty much coincident with the arrival of the British in North America. And his theories of government were were the foundation of the Glorious Revolution in England, where Parliament elected the king, King William and Mary, and it was considered an imperfect implementation of his ideas because they still stayed with the monarchy. But then were the foundation of our republics during the 1740s through the 1760s. Locke's theories of government were preached from New England pulpits.
You know, I never started getting interested into politics until about 2 or 3 years ago. I gotta say, I think when great presidents had them running, first of all, but and I get a lot of, shall we say, hate mail every once in a while, but I thrive on it.
Oh yeah.
You know, if I can't, that's what I love about my TV show here. I've been doing it in April, will be 19 years, and I love every
Congratulations,
minute.
Mel.
Thank you.
Nice.
And she has her own show now too.
Congratulations.
I love to be able to bring different people on. I started out when doing psychic readings on TV all the time, and then you know what? Then Matt Connor, then I got into doing different things. But then I went with my friend Lauren. We started going back into the spiritual level. But now I'm doing it for everybody. And I think anybody who has something they want to say and they want to come on my show, they're more than welcome to. Even our motor mouth over there today who's being quiet. And you enjoy being on here?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. I want you two to keep talking. I got to be right back.
Okay.
One of the things I want to ask you about is, do you trust our governor today? I'll let you think about that. And I don't.
It's a complicated question.
Well, I like complicated.
Yeah. We'll have to really.
Well,
Trust in what way? I guess is really so. Go and come back and.
do you trust him to behave like a Sununu? Yes.
Yes.
That's a metric. It's a yardstick. Do you
the-
trust him to be a good Republican? Well,
The thing I see with Governor Sununu is he has widely varying principles by which he guides his decisions. I mean, the same individual who promoted constitutional carry promoted Marcy's Law, and the two don't really jive on a fundamental level, and so
well, they do if you actually are looking at it from the perspective of playing to the middle.
I would never consider constitutional carry to be playing to the middle.
Yes, but he's trying to get both. Like he's trying to reach out to both sides.
He's trying to reach out. He's not playing to the middle. He's playing to both ends.
Yes, from the middle. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
I phrased it wrong, but he's trying to reach out to both sides
Yeah.
so that he can have enough popularity so that when he runs for the U.S. Senate, he actually will have enough name recognition and people thinking he did something that they
I
like.
could say when he first came in, the first year, I met him, and I thought the first year he did a good job. I mean, I'm a Democrat, and now I'm not too sure.
He is all over the map on the way on what he supports. I mean, there is. Okay, you take an individual like me.
Or me.
Right. You can look at a bill and you can say, that's how Dan's going to vote.
And I'm the same way.
Yeah.
And you can look at our voting records, and they're going to be, within a couple of items, they're going to be the same because we use the same value structure to evaluate a bill. I mean, I just wrote an article about this in the Hudson Litchfield News, because I'm from Litchfield, explaining the ballot to everyone, where I didn't take a single position of my own. I just explained both sides so people could understand my thought process and didn't tell them how to vote. And when the editor at the newspaper got it, they're like, "This is so unlike you." I said, "Yeah, but I want educated voters." The first sentence was, "I don't care which way you're going to vote, but I want you to be educated on your way in."
Yeah.
And then I told them what the issues were so they could evaluate them the same way I would evaluate a bill in the legislature. And when you do that, it's different because it may look like the best bill in the world except for the poison pill in the middle that makes it so that you can't vote for it.
Like the vulnerable adult protection bill.
Oh my God!
Okay, which sounds like a great thing. Okay, you have somebody who is being abused in a home, and you want to protect them from potential catastrophe. But if you read the bill, it is so fraught with irregularities, with where the case goes, with the terminology in the case, with the breaching of fundamental rights. I mean, Part 1, Article 15 says no one can be held accountable for a crime or offense unless it is fully and completely explained to them. Okay? Doesn't mean they have to understand, but it has to be explained. Okay? You have a bill in which you can, under temporary orders, have somebody's property, their dog, if there's an animal in the house, the person complaining gets the animal. And all their firearms removed without them ever having known anybody ever complained. Let alone having anything explained to them.
That's wrong.
Okay? The temporary order, okay, it has the temporary order section. And although it kind of says so in the after fact, it never even particularly explicitly says that you can have an ex parte. That means the defendant isn't present, okay, hearing. But it says if it is ex parte, afterwards, okay, that the order can be issued telephonically.
Means all they have to do is call a judge
They just
or
have
a
to-
justice of the peace.
Right, and away everything goes. They're off and running. And you can only require a hearing if the order is issued non-telephonically.
What? That means that if you call a justice of the peace as the police department or a complainer,
You don't. It does not go to the police. It's a cut and paste of the domestic violence statutes, except it does not go to the police. It goes directly to the courts.
wow.
There's no investigating agency ever mentioned. The only time the police are mentioned is when they've been given the order to go confiscate or whatever, or remove you from the premises.
So
Isn't
we're
that
stuck.
communist?
So we're stuck in this common problem that is, you and I would all agree that people at risk should be protected, right? We can agree commonly that that's a good idea. But the implementation detail makes it so that that particular implementation does more harm than good.
I mean, there's no due process. You're not entitled. It says, if the if the temporary order is issued non-telephonically, then you can request a hearing, which must be granted not less than 3 nor more than 5 days.
Wow.
Okay, and then it doesn't go to a criminal court. It goes to
Administrative court?
family court,
Oh.
which is an equity court.
Which means
And-
the rules of law don't apply.
There are no court rules, there are no rules of evidence. In fact, the bill says there are no rules of evidence.
Wow.
Do you know what that means? It means you can't defend yourself. It means you can't necessarily hear what the other people said about you. And under a strict interpretation of our Constitution, the family court system is unconstitutional and only is permitted because the New Hampshire Supreme Court, and correct me if I'm wrong, will not actually properly defend the constitutional limits of the family courts. Am I wrong about that?
I mean, you got to realize Rule 1.2 in family court is there are no rules.
Literally.
How
It
so?
literally says, in the interest of justice, the judge may waive, or the jurist, whether it's a referee or a master, may waive any rule.
I watch that all the time when kids go, when a lot of my friends go into court to try to get their children, like you just said. They do. My friend, whose wife admitted that she was a drug addict, and they had this wonderful GAL who was not even certified, and they wouldn't even allow him to defend himself. So and because she was a drug, and they still gave her the rights to the children.
I know particularly of, and actually George knows of this too, but it is happening again, of sealed envelopes being introduced as evidence that nobody, including the jurist, ever opens. Your Honor, what is in this envelope is so damaging that you must take his children away.
Well, that's what happened to him. And he spent thousands of dollars on a lawyer. The sad part in family court is, like you just said, there's no control.
I've gotten one bill through 2 years ago, 2+ years ago, that in a financial hearing, both parties must submit a financial affidavit.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. If you have any questions, I'm sorry, what's your first name again?
Dan.
Dan. And Joyce, a troublemaker here. If you have any questions you might want to ask them, give us a call.
Yeah, please do.
603-640-3091. And I'm sure they'll be very happy to answer your questions.
Honored.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And in the meantime, Dan, would you like to tell us the name of your book currently available on Amazon?
Sure.
It is States Have Powers. The powers of the people. Use them or lose them.
And the sad part is most of the people don't care, so they're losing them.
Well,
I'm going to go on Amazon and order that book.
I appreciate that.
It's really good.
Since you didn't bring it in for me on autograph.
I didn't.
Well, that's okay.
in all honesty, I was sitting there working. My phone volume was down. I did not realize what time it was, and I skedaddled over here at 3:30.
Well, you know what?
At least you
The
put on a
spirit,
tie.
yeah. Well,
Always.
That's the spirit.
You know me.
See,
I do.
I'm a firm believer in the spirit brings us who they want. Okay. Like he came on, and you two are good friends.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And he's been on many times. Troublemaker. But anyway, I'm going back to my original question before I left.
Yes.
Do you trust our governor?
Okay. Trust him to do what?
Like when he was an executive council member, first he said he would not sign the Planned Parenthood. Then he changed his mind and he signed it. Either he's going to be a Republican or he's going to be a Democrat. He cannot have it both ways.
Didn't he refuse to sign the legalization of marijuana bill?
He said he would veto it.
He said he
at
would
one
veto
time.
it.
Yep. And that doesn't surprise me.
I've been telling people what they need to do in the Senate is make sure that they actually pass a veto-proof bill in the Senate and send it to him veto-proof. It's
Well,
like, you know what?
It's.
Let him veto it anyway,
Yeah.
and then he's just making
Right.
a statement.
That is an issue where I would not have expected any other response from him. That's a response I could have predicted.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think right now he's doing a good job, but I still don't trust him.
My feeling is that I cannot anticipate him. I think that's a better way to put it.
There you go.
Okay, I cannot look at an issue. If he hasn't made a statement on an issue, by and large, I cannot predict what his statement will be. Now, I never would have questioned what his statement would be on marijuana.
I think his father was a great governor.
His father was a great governor. His brother was actually a very reliable senator. There were things I didn't agree with him on, but he was the most conservative senator in the Senate at the time, federal Senate.
Right.
He was
It's not
very
a high bar.
and he said that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I remember him saying exactly that. I can't remember how he said it, but it was being the most libertarian senator in the Senate is like something or other, and it was like a cakewalk.
Yeah.
But you could look at something and say, this is how he's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that in a politician, even if I don't agree with them, and that they are reliable, predictable. When I put out my signs when I was running for election, they said pro-life, pro-family, pro-liberty, states' rights, the Constitution's first, last, and always.
You know what I liked about Johnson, his father, was when he was governor? He wasn't embarrassed, because I went to Laconia State School for 22 years. He would literally let the No, I don't care how mentally challenged the client was or whatever. He never turned his back away from them. He always gave them a hug. Wesley Powell did the same thing.
I can see that.
Yeah, and I won't say who the Democrats are, but that's okay, who the Republicans were. I mean, the Democratic governors were. But I got to say, those two men were not shy. When they even literally, I sat down. I went in a severely mentally challenged building. Governor Sununu at that time came and sat down and had lunch with the clients. And
I can see him doing that.
yeah, I wonder how many of the state reps and the state senators would do that today. I know you would.
I have done it.
Yeah, and I know you would.
I would.
We've also ended up going in to hearings at the prison together.
Yes.
When we had an inmate who asked for support because they thought they were being railroaded, we ended up filling the room with state senators and state representatives because they said they canceled the guy's hearing and to get out. And I'm like, I talked
You
to
got
him
to pull your
yesterday.
mic up to you, dude.
I said, I talked to the guy yesterday, and he told me that the hearing was on, and you're telling me it's canceled? When's the next one? And I got a date, and we filled the room.
I was going to be a criminal psychologist. I was going to save all the criminals. You know, I was fresh out of school, still working on my degree, until the guy up here in Concord State Prison picked me up, like he said, I'm here, I'm serving a double sentence for murder, and wouldn't bother me to do it for you too. And I go, whoa! I took off out of that prison. I went back to California, and actually went to Vallejo, to the Vacaville State Prison there in California, and got my degree. I said, that's it. I think New Hampshire has the toughest prisoners of all the states. And I think that the prison guards do an excellent job. Mm-hmm. And I think they have to be recognized more. You know,
They're definitely overworked. They're working extra shifts. They're understaffed. They need to train more people. I was talking to one of them about
nobody wants
3
to
weeks
work
ago.
today.
I was talking to one of them the other day, and they have forced overtime at the Concord State Prison for Women, where you get, assigned. First it's voluntary, and then it's a rotation. So.
One of the things I cautious, I'm an alcoholic and I've been sober now 23 years. I cannot support taxpayers' dollars going into these rehabs.
I agree. I mean, my father was an alcoholic, and my father-in-law, and the one thing I know is if someone is not ready to get sober, you cannot make them get sober. If they are ready to get sober, you aren't going to stop them.
No, I was ready.
Yeah.
I went to one of the most fantastic outpatient clinics that I went to here in Manchester through the mental health. And the guy looked at it. He says, "I don't care who you are, what you do. You violate anything, because a lot of them from the hospitals, rehab centers, and all that." He said, "I will report you." And from that, plus my son gave me a choice. But if anybody, and I was homeless, I ate at the shelter. I didn't stay there, but I ate there. And if anybody wants to improve their lives, they can.
Well, and I will say, my brother was actually, brought to sobriety forcefully in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. But it was merely that it got him sober long enough to figure out where he really was. But if he had been, once he got out, if he'd still been inclined,
oh yeah,
he would have been.
And I hated it when they were forced to go to AA meetings, because a lot of them didn't learn. I'm not saying, but the one thing, I went to a couple of the meetings at the homeless, at the shelter, because they're all going to help you doing this. All they are know-it-alls who get a paycheck and can care less. And I'm talking like quite a few years ago. Can care less about the client. So if we're going to send all that money to the shelter, I'm not against the shelter, not at all. But who is it? This is property. This guy that's building these tents on his property for the homeless to stay, and there was a big thing about it, and how he's supporting. And I want to see the homeless people find themselves, but they don't want it. Mary and I were almost attacked a couple of weeks ago by some people coming from the homeless shelter.
Like every time we came through, this certain guy that was there.
And I didn't have my red hat either.
I told you I was going to try to find you one.
I hope you do.
That is,
Uh-huh.
you
We
know,
call
I've
that
been
scum.
watching this stuff on the news, and the alleged visceral reaction at the mere sight of a red hat, I find startling. Truly startling. What it says about the individual who gets so enraged at the sight of a red hat is not flattering.
No, they're pretty psycho.
Did you see the news yesterday where it was yesterday or the day before, this girl goes out and attacks a guy in a red hat?
Yeah.
She's an illegal alien and then complains and then gets arrested and deported?
Yeah, that was
and they have it all.
Smart.
They have it all on video.
Hey, if
She
you walked
basically
down the
turned-
street with a red hat, I'll walk down with you.
All right.
All right.
I have no problem.
Me either.
Me either, but it just.
Because I like instigating, anyways.
But can you imagine saying that about yourself? That the mere sight of a red hat on somebody's head
I got 2 red hats.
Hey, what
You
what
know,
you wear about my shoulder?
I got one
makes
says
you-
Patriots on it, my red one,
lose it?
and the Red Sox.
I mean,
What's funny is that, I have voted for Democrats. Like, it's not about a party for
No.
me. It's about
I have
it's about a value system where
I have
we
a
respect.
great alderman who's a Democrat.
Oh, yeah.
His name is Bill Berry. He and I have worked many a times on trying. Mary has seen the park work.
Yep.
We have worked on a committee to improve the park across the street from where I live.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if he's Republican. I don't care if he's Democrat. I just care that we work together. Put the political views aside. You know.
And respect each other,
Yeah.
even if we have a difference of opinion.
Yeah.
Like, reality check is that if Republicans during the last presidential cycle behaved as aggressively as Democrats are behaving towards Trump right now, the news media would never have stopped. What we don't have is even-handed accountability, reporting, and open dialogue. Is that fair? Or
no, you're
Bill,
absolutely right.
what's his name? The union leader, Bill. He used to be the owner before he passed away. Bill.
William Loeb.
William Loeb.
Yes.
He would be turning over in his grave the way the union leader is coming out.
Oh, absolutely.
He
You
was
know,
really
he wrote a book.
Republican.
Oh, he was really-
He
And
didn't
his-
want no Democrats in his paper at all.
And his weight carried a lot of power.
I know. In 1976, I lived in Manchester. I was in the 3rd grade. My dad ran for sheriff of Hillsborough County because of police abuse and brutality that was happening in Manchester at the time. He was a lousy candidate. I mean, he was a really lousy candidate. And I know something about running because I've run a lot now. He bought a box of business cards. That's all he did. Didn't buy a single sign, and he walked around and he handed out those business cards.
And he got elected.
And, nope, he didn't. But, there was something interesting that he did. He walked up and he watched the police while they were interacting with and beating someone up. And they told him to move along. And he didn't move. And they said, well, what's your name? And he said, I have the right to remain silent. The police officer corrected him with a billy club.
Oh,
And when he got to the police station with his one phone call, he picked up the phone and he said, you need to call the mayor. With his one phone call, he said, my name is Reverend George Lambert. I'm on the ballot running for Hillsborough County Sheriff. My platform is the police abuse and brutality of your department. I'm currently in your jail, and you have 5 minutes to get me out, or I will sue you for millions of dollars. And he hung up the phone.
When I like that because I've had a.
And he made the front page of the paper on that.
I think the police that I've gone from Laconia, the police that I have gone many battles, and usually I have won. And because I always fought for the teenagers. I always felt that the teenagers. I don't have a degree, but I'm working on that. By the way, you're right. I am going to law school, and you said I was going to be doing that. So thank you. Mary doesn't know it. She's going to come. We're going to study together. But
I have 2 degrees.
and I always fought for them, because you know what? Every person has a right to be heard. And they would all say to me, oh, here he comes again. So, but one of the things that I am very concerned about is how how can, like, the drug abuse? They're all caring, they're all fighting the drug abuse. If they don't want it, you're not going to help them. Why don't we take care of the elderly medical situation? Mary has to pay for her own insulin shots, Mary, and these drug addicts can get it free.
I got a funny story for you.
Okay. This is a great show, by the way. Thank you, Drew.
I was, last term, I was on the commission that selected our new ombudsman for DCYF. One of the candidates was Ned Gordon.
Okay.
And so we had gone through, I think we got, I don't know, 5 or 8 people who put their resumes in, and we chose the final 3, and then they came in for interviews. One of them was now Representative Gordon, and he's a former judge up north, also a former state senator. Before that was about 20, 30 years ago. He was in the House, and he's in again. But he comes in and he interviews, and then he said, as he's wrapping up, he says, "I'm going to say something that some of you aren't going to like." Watch it. He says, "New Hampshire doesn't have an opioid problem."
Can I guess what he's going to say next? Because I haven't heard this.
Okay, and there is a gasp from the commission. I smiled, and he says, "New Hampshire has an addiction problem. Opioids are only the drug of the day." And I gave him a thumbs up.
I like that.
Well, it's really true.
Well, actually, it's worse than that. Because, did you know, I was in Stewartstown the other day, and they have one of the highest...
What the hell is a Stewartstown, man?
If you go straight up the Vermont-New Hampshire border all the way to Canada...
Holbrook, that area?
Okay.
Just
I'm from California, I'm
He's way
still
up.
learning.
It's all the way up.
All the way up near
They
the
have one of the
Canadian
highest
border.
concentration rates of heroin usage in the state.
There's nothing else to do there.
There was a doctor up there that was overprescribing. He had basically become the
The Candyman?
yeah. And what happened was, as soon as the government cracked down on his ability to write prescriptions, he left all of the people who had actually been on legitimate opioid prescriptions without a mechanism to get them filled, and they had become dependent. What we need is a transition plan off of prescription opioid, a protected transition off of prescription opioids. And there, a doctor, a pharmacist, or anyone else can pull a opioid prescription because they think you might have a problem. Mm-hmm. And then what you've done is take somebody you think has a problem and turn them into a street purchaser of opioids.
I got a story to that effect, and it's one of the saddest things that I ever saw happen. My mother-in-law again, and she had fibromyalgia. She had several different maladies, and she had purchased a house down in South Carolina, but still came up during the summer to visit her children and grandchildren up here. So she had physicians in South Carolina, she had physicians in Massachusetts, and of several different stripes. And they all prescribed opioids. She wasn't necessarily asking for them, but each one wrote her a prescription, right? So she's down in South Carolina, and she goes to her primary care physician down there, and she says, "I know I'm taking too much of this."
Don't beg the table.
Sorry, I know. I know I'm taking too much of this. Can you help me cut down to what I should be taking? He says, "Oh, I don't do that. You have to go to a pain specialist for that." And he just basically brushed her off. 6 months later, they come back at her. "You're an addict." This is a 71, 2-year-old woman at the time. And they make her go cold turkey off of the opioids. And she's in real pain, right?
Which, according to the label, can actually kill you.
Right.
Like, literally, according to the label. I know I'm on a pain management prescription, and I actually take some of these meds. And it says, whatever you do not go cold turkey,
Yeah.
or you could end up with a heart.
Yeah, I have one I
stoppage or-
cannot
yeah.
stop
Okay.
taking
So
myself.
and then they put her on whatever. There's a new substitute that they use for
Narcan.
no, not Narcan. That's for if you overdose.
Right.
There's another.
Methadone.
No, it's
That's
it's
a new
like
one, yeah.
it's like using methadone to get people off of heroin, but it's for getting people off of opioids. Now it's actually far more addictive than the opioids, and it provides no pain relief.
Talk about a win-win.
And she is, and they did this to her within less than a year. She ended up passing away due to esophageal bleeding. I really believe that what they did to her really killed her.
Oh, absolutely.
But here's someone who says, "Look, I know I need to take less. Help me take less," and they blew her off and then attacked her shortly thereafter as an alleged addict.
See, that's like I don't believe in the methadone clinics. Cause I take synthetic heroin.
Yeah, well, which is what hydrocodone and
Yeah.
those are all. They're actually what I guess as a chemical engineer,
Right.
what I would describe is they are a slice of what the natural drug is. Okay, morphine, heroin. They're refined, but they are still a spectrum of chemicals.
Right.
Whereas the synthetics are one chemical out of that spectrum. And I don't believe they work the same. They don't do the same job. That's why one person hydrocodone may work for them, but Percocet and OxyContin don't.
I refuse to take that kind of medicine because I have an addictive personality.
Yeah, understood.
And, I have a very dear friend of mine who passed away. They misdiagnosed him. He started out, his mother, remember the Ritalin phase that they go through? Okay. He started out with a Ritalin phase. From there, because it had speed in the Ritalin.
Right.
From there, he went to methadone. From there, he became a dealer. And all of a sudden, they said because he was gay, so he automatically had the HIV virus. And they misdiagnosed him. So the medication that he was getting was so addicting, like you said, was so addicting that he couldn't survive without it. And he was one of my very dear friends, And I could always remember when I was talking with him, the last words he ever said to me was, "I love you, Norman." That was the best thing I ever had. And I cannot believe, I get a lot of calls for what I do a lot of what we call spiritual counseling. I get a lot of calls from how this one passes away from overdose and drugs. Women, my goodness, people don't realize that how much there are just as many women that are addicted to it, but you don't hear about that.
There's no gender bias
No,
whatsoever.
and and there's not a money bias either. They don't care,
No,
The pill has no conscience.
The other weird thing is you have someone who is on a prescription, right? Not only are they lambasting you for having the prescription in the first place, but then they lambaste you if you don't take all the pills.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they count them.
Yeah.
I can get a phone call because after my heart attack, I can't take NSAID pain relievers anymore. Because I have a defibrillator, and you know how bad my heart attack was.
Right.
So I can no longer take an entire family of drugs because it counteracts my heart meds and blood thinners. And so, they're constantly playing with what's the right combination.
Yeah, see, that's what I like. And I love what they tell you. They'll give you like the new diabetic pill, right? I love, if you have this, don't take it. If you have that, don't take it. I mean, they give you all these warning signs, so who the hell wants to take it? So I was on
But
high
then they
blood
test
pressure
you to
pills.
find out whether or not you're taking them all.
Yeah.
I mean, I got
Why do they count? What? I don't. Is that an invasion of your privacy?
Nope, you have to sign a contract that actually says you'll show up and let them count your pills on demand to make sure you're taking them at the right order and at any time. You're subject to I'm subject to a on request showing up for a blood test or a urine test for my meds, and my last set of labs cost just under $1,300. After insurance got done, It's a $400 bill. I got it today. So I know.
What good is insurance if you're gonna? You know what I'm saying? The Obamacare insurance here.
Well,
And if I don't get the tests,
you don't get your meds.
I don't get my meds.
Well-
and so what do I do? The other option is stop taking them all, right?
Well, and pain is such a variable thing. I mean, my wife has chronic pain. And there are good days and there are bad days. And if you're having a good day, why do you want to take extra medication?
See, and that's why the last time I went to my doctor, I hadn't smoked in like 4 years then. You're smoking. No, I'm not. You're smoking. I go, no, I'm not. Oh, I can smell it. My daughter-in-law did. I said, but I'm not smoking. And then she put the thing on my finger, to test my pulse and all that. She couldn't even know how to do it right. That medical. She said my heart rate was 30 beats a minute. I said, shouldn't I be in the hospital then? So I have no confidence. My only confidence I have is my friend Dr. Jody McDonald. She's a herbalist specialist, and I refuse to take all this medication. And I was not allowed into the Elliott Hospital because I refused to have a flu shot.
Wow.
I could not visit anybody in there because I refused to have a flu shot. I said, so if I become a patient, you're going to force me to have a flu shot? She said, well, yes. I go, no, you're not. I don't think that's fair. I think they're
well, the answer is you have to go to a different hospital.
Right.
I mean,
all the hospitals are that way, though. She's the same way.
I don't.
Oh, it's about to get worse.
I refuse to do a flu shot.
I've never had a flu shot.
I had it one time. I was more sick with a flu shot than I was without it.
Absolutely. I am. I mean.
Do you have a question for either one of these? As a teenager?
She actually knows us both really well.
I do.
Slide the microphone over to her.
Here you go. Ask us.
Well,
I don't have any questions per se. Like, I know I've met Dan multiple times.
Oh, you poor kid.
I've grown up in politics, so I understand most of what they're saying. And opioid addiction in general, is big in New Hampshire, and it's big across the entire United States. And it's something that needs to be worked on, but you can't, as you guys said, it can't be forced upon.
well,
What is your solution as a teenager?
that's a good question.
I would say better prevention in schools and such. Give them knowledge. As a teenager who's in school, I take health class. I got a 45-minute. My whole school got 45-minute lesson about all these different drugs, and I can't name 2 of them. That was nothing for me.
So can you reintroduce and say, look, I want to learn more about it, maybe in the health class or whatever? Could you put in, maybe have a bunch of kids that would get together and have a meeting with it, or even form a committee?
See, I feel like that's
You got to
not
put your
something-
mic up closer.
Sorry. That's not something children, teenagers, young age people, they're not going to do that. They don't have the initiative, and they don't
But
care
you
yet.
do.
I do.
And I'll bet you if you, I actually will tell you as a psychic or whatever, but if you push that hard enough. Oh, okay.
Hello, Nice Community Corner.
Hello.
Hello, what's happening?
Not a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah. How's the
Waiting for the
weather?
stupid snow to start.
Yeah.
Joe, we're here talking about the drug addiction in New Hampshire. What is your opinion?
What's my opinion of it?
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Okay. Do you think that the state should pay for, give money to the rehab center to get the kids off it?
No, they shouldn't.
All right, another
mean-
man.
People, honestly, that need New Hampshire Medicaid
Right,
can't get it.
right. I'm one of them.
And I know of one that is with you. My wife and I can't get it because we make $1 to $2 too much, but they'll give it to these drug addicts to get rehab.
Yeah.
What happened? What's wrong with this system?
Well, we had
You know?
two great men here who are strong in their beliefs, and they're both former House reps, right?
Yes.
And one of them wrote a book, and the other one's in the middle of writing a book because he's going to rerun again. And we all have the same opinion that you're having. I don't want my tax dollars wasted on the rehab center or the pregnancy
Right.
clinic.
I agree with you 110%,
Hey,
Norm.
but what Joe and I,
mean, you know,
Joe, you and I
happened
actually
to
agreed.
taking care of the elderly.
Right.
What happened to
Veterans.
charity starts at home?
Right.
Who in God's name come up with the stupid brainstorm idea to help these drug addicts? Look at the pharmacies in Manchester. Was it Rite Aid, I think it is, where a dope addict can walk in with a dirty
Yeah.
needle and they'll give him a clean needle.
Right. All the pharmacies.
That's true.
That's
All the
encouraging them.
pharmacies. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of pharmacists
You know?
are doing it now.
You know. And I have a hard time
a
with that.
lady here in Rochester. She was quite elderly. She couldn't get New Hampshire Medicaid.
Oh,
And I'm going, my
I make
God, what
$2
is
a
wrong?
we've had experiences like
Yeah.
that.
And then
know,
they have
they-
the safe houses at the
they-
fire departments when they can drop it off.
Why should our firefighters be babysitters? Those guys have a tough enough job. They don't know when they're going to come home from a fire.
Yeah.
Are they going to come home in one piece to their families?
Yeah.
Or they going to come home in a pine box? You know?
So
Our
Joe,
firefighters shouldn't have to go through that crap.
so
I don't care
Joe,
what city, what town it is, they shouldn't have to be babysitters.
and I agree.
That's-
Manchester has
That's
one of
not
the
what
best
a
fire
fireman
departments.
does.
Okay, Joe. So you have a question for either one of these guys because they're going to be running again. What would you suggest that they help to fight for?
Number one,
Yeah.
fight for the elderly.
Okay.
Number two, let these drug addicts go to work.
There you go. I agree with that.
I agree
And let
with
these
that.
homeless
Yes.
people.
If they don't want to go to work and get a regular job, they want help from the state. The state puts them out there on the street with a broom and a dustpan and a trash bucket with a two-wheeler. Go sweep the sidewalk, sweep the curbs.
Yep.
Earn your money just like we all had
You
to.
agree with
Yeah.
that?
Oh,
My God.
absolutely. I
Why
wouldn't.
should we give them everything for nothing?
Did Mary
They go
tell
around,
you?
then they do it all over again.
Did
You know,
Mary
they
tell
tell
you
them
that
that
she and
they're
I were
all
almost? Did Mary tell you that she?
Don't hold nothing back.
Yeah. Did Mary tell you that she and I was almost attacked by one of the homeless guys?
Yeah, twice now.
Twice.
Yeah, she was telling me that. My God.
Yep.
Then another time,
Oh,
I
my
had a
God.
bishop on with me, and there was this guy laying there. I thought he was actually
Yeah,
freezing.
yeah. He was
Okay,
turning blue that
so
way.
Oh, my
we
God.
touched him, and these people were
Okay.
there. I got to give the fire department credit. They were right there, weren't they?
Yeah, they
And
were.
this woman was going to pour water on him in the middle of the winter, and laying there on the ground, and this other guy was going to push me out of the way. You know,
Oh,
and I'm
my
there,
God.
whoa, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I had a bishop with me.
But I mean, spend the money on
Yeah, the
what it
bishop
should
was
be
with us.
spent on.
Right.
Yeah.
Health care.
Well, how about I'm in
Elderly.
favor they can spend money on prostitution
Real
for
health
me.
care. Not
Yeah.
this drug addict crap that these, what do they call those, rehab places there?
Right.
Come on, no. Come on. They want that money, make them borrow it from whatever, a bank or whatever.
No, how about making the homeless person pay, or a person who has insurance, or maybe Medicaid? How about making them maybe work it off?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Work it off
Or
would be
even,
fine.
now, okay, how many homeless vets do we have? Right here in New Hampshire.
Way too
Too
many.
many.
That-
Yes.
Yeah, but I have an
That
argument on
want to
that.
help,
You
but
guys
they
aren't gonna
can't get
like.
it. Why? That's a bunch of BS. There was a guy over in, was it Epping or Exeter? 2, 3, 4 years ago. He owns quite a bit of land over there, I guess.
Hey, Joe, we
He
got another
wanted to
call
build
coming in.
homeless veteran homes so they could live in them. The state
Yep.
told them no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
It's his
never-
own land and his own money.
Community.
Yeah. Hey, and then another call
know.
coming in. I'll catch you later.
Alrighty.
Okay, catch
Have a
ya.
good night, everybody.
Yeah,
You
too.
too.
Thank you.
That's the first time he and I have ever agreed on anything. Am I right?
Yep.
Because I don't want to see that coyote law pass.
Yeah. Yep, you and I both.
One of the things that I don't get me wrong, I have a lot of feelings against for the homeless vets.
Right.
But there is a lot of organizations out there that they can get the help from if they want.
I have this fear. I've actually
You got to put the
stopped.
mic to you.
I stop on the side of the road, and when I see someone with a sign, and I say, "Look, do you understand the programs that are available to you, and do you know who to call?" And I have a directory guide from when I was in the State House. Okay, so I have the number for Manchester Welfare. I can actually call them up and get this person connected, and I'll drive them over. And I offer that. And more times than not, they say no.
Well, my friend.
But if they need help, and there are times that people have said they need help,
absolutely.
we've gotten them to help.
And
I think they need to know. I think there should be a handout brochure that people can say, these are the resources.
I've seen
Call
many
an 800
people out
number.
here passing them out. They don't want to. A friend of mine.
That's what I wanna know, yeah.
A friend of mine owns a hotel, and he has a restaurant with it, and they have a garden.
Mm-hmm.
He went over. I don't remember if you were with me or not, but he went over to like 7 of them. He says, "I will put you in a hotel because he has an employee resident. I will put you in. I will pay you $12 an hour to work for me, and you'll get your meals." You know what they said? They make more money on the streets.
They do.
Well, and
That's a bit
person-
scary, actually.
a person has a right, I guess you'd say,
Yeah.
to be homeless if they want to.
Yeah, I've had
I
friends.
agree.
I've had people that are homeless that have made good friends on them.
Then if you're
They can
homeless-
stay with for a short, but they need to travel. They need to go on, and I don't like it when I feel sorry for children that are homeless.
Yes.
I feel sorry for the teenagers that their parents kick them out. But a lot of times, because they don't want to give up whatever they're doing, they bring it on them. But the babies, I think the welfare should go in. If they're young children that are under 12 years old, I think the state should swoop them up and put them into like a group home until the family get together. But then again, I'm really stingy when it comes to money. I've been told I should run for state rep, but I have more fun doing my show.
You can do both.
Yeah, no.
I know
Then
I
I'd have to
run-
change my makeup all over again. That would be a lot of work.
You'd
But,
have to have it on a different day.
yeah, there you go. But
You'd have to do a Monday.
I actually will tell you that I actually see you running for either state senate or legislator again, and I actually will see you're going to get elected, and I will promote the hell out of it for you.
Well, I don't. Given my choice, I would stay in the House. And
Okay,
I'll tell
I
you
do
why.
see you running that. Would you ever consider running for Congress?
No. God.
No, we'll let John Burt do that. He's
I mean,
also a friend.
and George will back me up on this. One of the things that I do with my being in the House is teach. I teach the reps.
Really?
And there aren't enough people to teach in the Senate.
Right. Senate, you're only talking to 24. In the House, you're talking to 400. And a lot of the senators are people who were previously reps. So a lot of the senators are a body that I have spoken to in the past. If I want to affect what New Hampshire is in the future, the loudest voice is in the House of Reps.
That's what
Because
I
you
would
Don't,
train-
we had the
here.
largest
trains an
body,
army.
don't we? In the
Oh, yeah.
country, we had the largest. And folks, I got to tell you, these guys actually worked for nothing.
You got $100 a
That's
year.
not true. We get about
$100
$200
a year,
a
that's
term,
what I was told.
$184.76, I think.
Something like that after taxes.
after
Yep.
taxes.
But you also have to buy your own name tag.
Yes, you
Yes,
do. And you
yes.
have to pay for your own license plates. And like every
But the
time.
So-
money's in the mileage.
It is. It is.
So actually,
You make mileage every time you go up there.
I want to run next year. They
And
have
I-
to have a big mouth.
we already know that.
But you know what?
But the one thing is, I would definitely, when your book comes out, you're writing a new book, and when that comes out, I let me know. We'll
Okay.
promote it on the air.
I
One of the things
appreciate
that I like doing is I like having people come in, and I've had Tim Baines. He's a great guy. Let me tell you, here's a man that's because he has a restaurant downtown. I don't know if you know him or not. He's a great guy, and He has been fighting so hard, but the ALUC get into it, the Civil Liberties.
ACLU.
Yeah, ACLU.
They
Well,
used to
I
be
got
an
it almost right.
They used to be an organization I supported.
You're right. Really, I don't support them.
I used to.
Yeah.
because
When I got beat up being a gay man, I got beat up. Okay. Well, because my name wasn't big and powerful and all that, so they didn't have time. And that's okay because I can overcome my own battles. But I feel mad because these restaurant people, you have these people, and if you dare to make a move, then they're going to sue the hell out of you. And they'll win. I know a guy who went into an abandoned house, and he fell down a flight of stairs because they didn't have a proper fit, and he won a lot of money out of it.
Did you see there was a video that they caught? It was played on Fox News. A guy who was trying to scam, and he was I guess working in a kitchen or something, and he didn't realize he was on camera, and he pours water on the floor and then slips in it.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Oh God, was it funny?
And you know what? I've got to the point. Although I did go to the Puritan,
And it was all recorded.
You and I are going to have to go to the Puritan. You and I and Tammy. When I went to the Puritan today for lunch, it was fantastic. Even though I don't
martinis.
Huh?
No martinis.
Nope, I sure didn't.
I think they're famous for margaritas, though.
It is.
And their mudslide, it's called the Granite State.
Oh, it's the mudslide.
Yeah, that's
it.
what my
I
friend
worked there
had.
twice.
And you know what? I watched
I haven't
these
had
people.
a mudslide in 30 years.
I watched these people, and I said to my son one day, because he had his own band, and we went. I loved going to the Uptown down here, and it was a dive bar, but I had a heck of a good time. And I said to my son, Did I really act like that? He said, No, you acted worse. And then I was singing on the TV, and Carl says, Don't sing, Dad. But, you can. I don't believe in the word failure. I don't set you to either do.
No.
Okay. You can be homeless. I was. I was fortunate I didn't have to stay at the shelter, but I ate it, and the food was tremendous. And it really was. And I had a lady friend of mine, I would feel sorry, who was dying of HIV, and she said, Who the hell do you think you are? And I looked at her, and her boyfriend came home at 5 o'clock in the morning and woke me up and go to work. That's when my life started changing. I had cucumbers on my eyes, and a cucumber mask, so I wouldn't have any wrinkles, and didn't do any good. I still went to work, And then this one lady at the shelter, I was in line, went to get some food, and I'm not embarrassed to say it because that's what I did use what they had. And this one lady gave me a pair of moccasins. Even today I get emotional. And I started crying. She said, What are you crying about? I said, You don't know what this means to me. The saying, don't judge me until you walk in my shoes.
Yeah.
And that I still have them shoes somewhere in my closet. Because, that wasn't changing. That's why I say anybody wants to can improve their life.
Yes, I agree with that.
I have a very good friend of mine whose son has been in, and this is why I don't support drugs, who's been in and out, and he's out now.
And that's really what separates particularly America from the rest of the world, is that pretty much anybody who wants to improve their situation, doesn't mean everybody's going to become rich.
No.
But anybody who wants to improve their situation has the capacity to do so. One of the things that's really unique about the United States is that your richest group, your richest echelon in the United States typically changes with great regularity. The guy who's the richest man in the world
Changes every decade.
Right. The guy is right now the fellow who owns Amazon is no longer Bill Gates.
That's right.
And 20 years ago, his business didn't exist.
And he's revolutionized the product distribution, and he's reduced costs. He's changed people's lives. He's altered retail.
Actually, I have a friend of mine that's going down for a job interview for Amazon.
They're a great company to work for. Unless you live in New York, and then,
Then you don't get to work for them.
Exactly.
But you think of the number of people, I can't think of the guy who's our Surgeon General right now, and I can't remember his name. Ben Carson, Dr. Carson, grew up in poverty. Clarence Thomas grew up in poverty. The number of high ultra high achieving individuals who grew up in poverty, and the number of people who grew up in wealth and who are no longer wealthy.
And you know what? The wealthier they are, the more unhappy they are.
Can I mention something here?
Well, you had that.
All right.
No, I'm only kidding. Go ahead.
You ever been on Kimball Street?
I know where it is.
Yeah.
You know, there's some
Yeah,
projects
that behind
down
me,
at the end.
yeah.
Projects, yeah.
Some
Yeah, it looks like a
projects
high
down
school. It looks like a college
It
campus.
does, actually. I drove by there because I used to live there
Did you?
when I was growing up. Oh, yeah.
You're not
Yes.
embarrassed, right?
Not at all.
No.
Because you know what?
Your Ackerman sits in the back.
Exactly. And I worked hard. I didn't have anything other than tenacity.
Yeah.
And
He's another big word.
you know what? I taught myself. I spent one semester in college. I started my own company. Okay? Sometimes things are good. Sometimes things are bad. I follow my passion. But I learned one thing, and that is the American dream is not everyone being equal. It's an equal opportunity for all of us to choose to become unequal.
I want to repeat that.
I said, the beauty of the American dream is not everyone being equal. It is the equal opportunity to become unequal, to actually go out and apply whatever it is you have in terms of desire and spit and conviction and turn it into whatever you can make of it. And the more time you spend doing that, the closer you're going to get to being happy. And if you have to trade rich for happy, trade well. I have a fantastic wife. I have a fantastic life. You know, the only thing I don't have is my health, but you know what?
That's okay.
I enjoy every day more since I've realized that what I need is to enjoy what I do and to appreciate it. I am not the guy that I met when I met you years ago by a long shot. 2/3 of my heart gone. Like I got tired walking up the stairs over here. I have a hard time, but you know, it's my choice. Every day you make a choice to do better than yesterday.
I grew up in poverty with no running water, and when my father made me pay the light bill, we might get our lights back on. I grew up with an outhouse. You run out the door, you pump the water in, and you bring the wood in to heat the water and stuff like that. But you know what? I didn't know I was poor.
Nope.
You know, and
It's all relative.
yeah, and that's why I appreciate what I have today. You can make your, like with you, Nick, but you've had your ups and downs. Your life hasn't always been peaches and cream.
It isn't peaches and creams yet. Our youngest, I grew up in, I guess, relative affluence.
Yeah.
But our youngest son was brain injured at birth. And we made a choice that, you know, this is the hand that was dealt us, and you deal with it. And spent 24 years. He passed away a year and a half ago.
Sorry.
It was a lovely service.
In an odd mixture of affluence and poverty, we were able to keep the house we had bought just before he was born. And though we were in foreclosure 22 of the 24 years, in and out, something like that. We never lost a house, and you know, there were times when there were struggles, but I do remember one thing that my middle son, we had 5 kids total, and Jared had been born. I had to give up my engineering job at the time, had become self-employed, which has its own ups and downs, and you know, feast and famine. But we homeschooled, and I was driving my son over to my office, to our home, whatever. And he turns to me, and he's at that point about 8 years old. He says, "You know, Dad, I really like it better now that you're home than when we used to have money."
I've actually heard that from my kids.
You know, can I give you a message from your son that passed? He told me he's very grateful for what the care that you gave him, and that he had the love that was unconditional. And he's very happy where he's at, and he's always with you and all. There's also a dog with him.
There would be.
Okay, he was a very loving child, wasn't he?
Very.
Okay, but I have to let you know that he's very happy, and he does come and visit you quite often.
We know that he's happy.
Yeah.
That's one of the advantages of our faith. But yeah.
When we're talking about money, I have a client, because I do private office. This guy was making $250,000 a year. Okay, his wife was making $150,000. So, and because he got laid off, they did not know how they were going to survive. I started laughing. Well, and they were really serious. I said, you know what? First of all, you're selling a $1.5 million house. Get rid of that, $3,000 a month payment. You buy yourself a little condo somewhere else. And then I said, start living so lavishly and taking life for granted. The children, sadly, now will not talk to them. They went now he got a new job, so together they're earning $300,000. But because they didn't have the high echelon living they were used to, the children now refuse to talk to them. How sad.
That's absurd.
That is really sad.
But I blame the parents because the parents made their life all about monetary things and not care.
Our kids didn't have that opportunity.
Nope. My son, I'm very blessed with my son. Especially back in the 70s and all that, when you were gay, it was unheard of. You could not do that, And he and if I had gone, when we I got divorced, we didn't tell the judge that it was gay because I would have lost custody of him.
Right.
And right now, she can tell you we have a very good relationship.
Yep.
When we have a cookouts and Mary, anybody's always invited, right, Mary?
Yep.
And we have a lot of good food and stuff like that. And like I
So
said,
much food you can take it home. Let me tell
you can. Like with you went through a lot of heartache, and you're still going through a lot of heartache, and you still miss a young child. Okay.
I don't know that you can ever get
No.
over it. You learn to deal with it.
Right. When my little girl died, she was 36 hours old. I belonged to this born again Christian church, and God's going to save me from being gay, okay. And then they said to me, it is your fault that your daughter died because you lived such a sinful life. I'm looking at him, and I almost committed suicide over it.
You and a bunch of Catholic priests who are being outed over in the Vatican this week.
Oh, yeah. And being blessed for the child manifestation.
Well, it's
Money. Well, I went to a church after my fourth marriage, and I wanted to get my third marriage annulled because we were married. And they said, you've been married too many times. I said, oh, okay. I said, I figured if I give you $25,000, will that help me get my marriage annulled? Oh, yeah, they said to bring the paperwork out.
And then you offer them $25, and they say, what's this? You say, we already decided.
Yeah.
We know what business you're in. It's just a question of price.
It's all about money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And according to the born again Christian, my son is not legitimate because I have been married more times. And you know what? If that's Christianity, I don't want any part of that.
Well, that is a branch of Christianity that is based on control and not the word.
Right.
And,
That's-
there's a big
That's a
difference.
church. That's not Christianity.
Right. Gary and I have a lot of good talks on that.
Dude, we do this well. We should do this more often.
Would you two come back on again together?
Anytime.
Yeah.
All right. This is a good show, isn't it?
It is.
Last week we had,
Enjoying this.
actually we had, 2 weeks ago we had Al.
Baldessaro.
There you go.
Oh, he's great.
He was awesome. I got
he's
a book
fantastic.
together.
You had Al and Gary, actually.
Yeah, we had them both on.
Which Gary?
Hopper.
Oh my God.
And that one's fantastic. And I love having John Bird on.
You have the funny guy and the straight man.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And
And
love,
two great gun guys.
Yes, indeed.
And I love having John Burt when he gets time to come on.
Mm-hmm. Although he's busy.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
got the
gonna
John
be on
Burt
next-
Society now.
He's going to be Chris Pappas out.
It's a group on Facebook.
He's going to be
I got
Chris
the
Pappas.
implication.
He's running against Chris Pappas.
I hope so.
Okay.
I'm going to push him.
So, what are your thoughts on the upcoming election?
Trump is automatically going to win.
Okay.
We got to get rid of, what's her name?
Shaheen's got to go. All right.
And
I have a candidate in mind.
Well, yeah.
I have a candidate. He's got a candidate. Our candidate happens to be the same candidate.
Okay, well, he's going to win.
I hope
I
so.
also tell you we got to get rid of Hassoon. I mean, come on, and the pro-life people that can kill a baby.
Oh
with
my
Oh.
God!
They're not pro-life.
No, that's what I'm sorry.
No,
Murderers.
That's actually something that's near and dear to my heart because when my son was born, people think this is new.
No, it's not.
It is not new. When our youngest son was born and brain injured at birth in '94, and he had to be whisked down to Children's Hospital, the physicians down there were urging us to deprive him of nutrition and hydration, to starve him to death.
And that was how many years ago?
Not that long ago.
26, yeah.
26 years ago. That's a fair amount of time.
And if you think it wasn't rampant or real, shortly thereafter, within less than a year, I think, maybe less than 2 years, another young couple who had the same kind of injuries at the same hospital in New Hampshire also went to our church. They went down, and they were convinced to do it.
Wow.
And it took the poor child 9 days
Oh my
to
God.
pass. And
You know, I have a lot of clients that come in who have had abortions. And you would be amazed at the horror stories that they tell me, that they live with every day, every night.
Yep.
One woman was a lawyer. She thought the easiest way to get rid of a child. I said, what if you just take birth control? No, I can't do that. It would ruin my body. When she got married, karma and God have a way of paying people back. When she got married to another lawyer, guess what? She couldn't have any children anymore, and she lost everything.
Yep. No, I
Folks, doing abortions or doing right up to birth, right?
well, and that's one of the interesting things when Governor Northam did his thing a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
Change the dialogue across the country.
Oh, he changed the dialogue across the country, and more importantly, when you listen to the way he spoke and realize he's a pediatric neurologist, the people who were the most morose, okay, when Jared was born, were the pediatric neurologists. And I get it. They see the worst cases, the most hopeless. But his articulation, his speech manner, was one not of conjecture, but of experience.
I
He was
listened to him on Facebook.
He was telling you what he had done.
Yeah, and I listened to him on Facebook, and I was crying.
Yeah.
And the thing that my understanding is, and this is what I have heard, it's only rumors, and I can't prove it, is that they've actually done it here in New Hampshire.
I'm sure they have.
But it's very well covered.
We have no laws inhibiting abortion in New Hampshire except for parental notification. Not consent, notification. Massachusetts has consent. Okay? But we have nothing, literally, our abortion clinics do not have to be licensed.
No.
There is nothing that ensures that they are sanitary. You do not have to be a doctor to perform an abortion in New Hampshire.
Did you know that?
Okay? This came out, I put in back in in 2000.
I'm in favor of free markets.
Right.
So all these things you just said, I'm actually, if it was not an abortion clinic, I would actually be 100% in favor of. Right. So, I would like every business to have those privileges.
Right. So,
but
I put in one of the original abortion statistic bills in 2002, second year of my first term. I was always edgy. Just to get statistics. But the one thing I put in there was to record the name of the physician. And the woman who was the representative of the Nurses Association, whatever it's called, stood up and said that they objected because they knew nurse practitioners were performing abortions. You could have heard a pin drop.
I bet.
On both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
those who were opposed to the bill never anticipated that was a fact.
There's a woman that joined the New Christian Fellowship, and she stood up, and she said, and she's in a woman's clinic, and she said, every day I am haunted with all the murder. And she called, I'm just telling you, all the murders that she committed of killing innocent children.
Well, you know, you don't need to apologize to me to call
No,
it
God.
call it murder. I mean, is the baby a human? How many chromosomes does it have? Is it anything other than human?
Yeah.
I'm not going to engage in this conversation with you.
I know.
Yeah.
But I'll let you sit back.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Is it anything?
Because
Other,
we disagree on very few things.
but is it anything other than human?
No. Once
Okay.
it.
Okay. Has it ever committed a volitional act?
No.
Okay. What is the definition of murder?
That's what the doctor said.
The definition of murder is the taking of innocent human life.
Oh, okay. You know, and that's what they're doing. Do
I-
you have a question on
I
this?
believe she's about to
I
comment.
do.
She actually, and she deserves the ability to comment.
Absolutely.
Because she is a subject matter expert on a young girl's perspective on this.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So, are you pro-choice or pro-life?
I am adamantly pro-life.
Okay. What about people who can't handle this child? And
Yep.
adoption, yes, is always an option.
Yes.
But there are so many kids in the system right now. Why do we need
Okay.
more?
We do not. There are in the adoption system. There are not a lot of kids.
There's more demand than there is supply.
Yes.
By a lot.
The sad part is
That's why
they're
people go to
adopted from
China and
overseas.
Russia and Eastern Europe to adopt children
Yeah.
because they aren't available in the United States. Babies in particular.
Why do you think it's murder?
He
Because
just
it
said
is.
that.
Well, can you elaborate more?
Boy, how to
Good
elaborate
question.
more? Because the baby has never committed any act deserving of death.
Okay, so I'm going to interject here, and you got me at. Can we agree at heartbeat
Yes.
versus chromosome?
Right.
Because
Right, so-
if you'll give me heartbeat versus chromosome, we can have a conversation.
And ultimately, I mean, we're dealing in a lot of issues here. I mean, we're dealing
Because your fingernails are also human. When you cut them
they're
off,
part of a human. They're not
exactly,
independently.
and so that's why we need to have the heartbeat conversation.
And
No, I
and
disagree
I
with
will-
you because
now,
I think that once the baby is conceived, whether it's a heartbeat or whether it's a chromosome, it's still murder.
Okay,
Now,
you're right.
Now here, and I agree with you.
Oh.
However, I am also a politician.
So am I.
Okay.
Neither of us are going to get elected
Right.
after this conversation.
No,
but there you go.
No, that's not true.
I
Because
know.
put pro-life on my sign.
I know you do. I used to put pro-choice on my
I
side
actually
until-
have to
until a month
close.
ago.
But
Okay.
if this,
make it
if
quick
this-
because I actually have
Yeah.
to close.
Okay. Well,
Finish it up if you
okay.
can.
If
1
this
minute.
is the scale of pro-life, pro-choice. Okay. And so this is pro-life and this is pro-choice. Right now we are over here, flat against the wall. If I can see anything pass that moves us this direction, I will take it.
And it's going to.
I actually said to Representative Hall the other day, a former Representative Hall the other day, I used to be 100% pro-choice. But here's what happened.
I
We
gotta.
gave them an inch, and they started taking a life.
Okay.
And you said that to me.
Okay, I
And-
gotta let
and
you
I
guys go.
understand. I just wanted
Tell
to
me your name again.
Emily
Emily
Lambert.
and
George Lambert.
Dan Itse.
okay, Nancy. And Mary, of course, and everybody out there, because you know this is the screaming, careless type person, Norm. And remember, folks, you every day are the winner. We'll see you next week.